Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida at the time, who, as we know, resigned Friday. He said, even he himself said, I was told Epstein, quote, belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. So let me take you to Robert Steele, who's a former CIA and military intelligence officer. Okay. This is his statement. He says, I remain of the view that Jeffrey Epstein is a Mossad clandestine operations officer, assisted by Mossad clandestine operations officer Ghislaine Maxwell, and that their mission is to do precisely what they have been doing, entrap U.S. politicians, judges, celebrities, prosecutors, and corporate leaders.
And most governments will do this if they could. It just so happens the Israelis are really good at it.
Right. I mean, what could be a better asset than someone who has all this dirt, right? This quote-unquote blackmail.
He tycoon, prime minister, prince, or former president or president. If somebody was to say to them, I have video of you with a 14-year-old girl.
You do whatever they wanted.
You own them.
Right. And let's bring it back to that controversial plea deal, right?
First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the whole for elect, preaching his word in truth and sincerity. And to you ribs, to you sisters out there, learning in silence and staying in order. Right? So, yeah, man. I mean, I always had a feeling that this dude Epstein, you know, because that's a small hat name. It's a small hatter, what you call it, tribesman, for lack of better words, right? So it's no wonder how they got these politicians, and trapped like that. Like I think it was a snake smooth move from Esau, man. Not shocked at all. See, they get to taste their own medicine, man. How about all those treaties they did with God back in the days? You know, they broke every single treaty, right? Now they're doing it to each other. I mean, I get a kick out of it, right? Because, you know, it's what he deserves this shit, man. You know, Babylonian Edomites hate small hatters, and just like the German Edomites hated small hatters, right? Because these people are just, man, they can't even trust each other. Reminds me of this preset me and the brothers like to bring up at camp. Sirach chapter 14 verse 5 says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? Right? This man is dirty to his own family members. Cannot be trusted. Says he shall not take pleasure in his goods. Wow. Verse 6, there is none worse than he that envieth himself. And this is a recompense of his wickedness. Verse 7, and if he doeth good, he doeth unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. This is Esau Edom to a T, man. Self-explanatory. I think it's hilarious, man. Like all these politicians have been swindled. Is that the word? Swindled? Bamboozled. Right? You get a taste of your own medicine now. Now you know how it feels to be manipulated and have the system work against you. Right? He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? This is why the Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has created a perfect evil in Esau. Perfect evil. That once his purpose is complete, it's time to get rid of him. Right? That's why we don't need him in the kingdom. He's going to serve his time, according to the prophecies written. Right? He's going to drink double of the cup that he imposed onto the children of Israel, who we know on this side of the hemisphere as the so-called Hispanics, the so-called blacks, and the so-called Native Americans. Right? Once that judgment is fulfilled, you're just going to be discarded, because you know what? There's no purpose, no need for you. There's no need for you. Book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 7. Reads, all the men of thy confederacy, right? And a confederacy is basically like a gathering of meetings of people of power that get together and make decisions, right? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, right? Got you in a trick bag. You like little girls, boom, got you. Come to the island. I got you recorded. Now I own you. And that's how countries are overthrown, man. The love of money is the root of all evil, man. It says, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. It's wild, man. It's a wild world.
Plea deal, right, from Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida at the time, who, as we know, resigned Friday. He said, even him himself said, I was told Epstein, quote, belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. So let me take you to Robert Steele, who's a former CIA and military intelligence officer.
Okay.
This is his statement. He says, I remain of the view that Jeffrey Epstein is a Mossad clandestine operations officer, assisted by Mossad clandestine operations officer Ghislaine Maxwell, and that their mission is to do precisely what they have been doing, entrap U.S. politicians, judges, celebrities, prosecutors, and corporate leaders.
And most governments will do this if they could. It just so happens the Israelis are really good at it.
Right, I mean,
that this is the same. I'm at a loss of words right now. I do not believe that this is the same person we're talking about.
Brian Belizaire, stunned to learn about the surprising past of his neighbor here on Mount Pleasant Street in Derby. The AP reports Derby police are working to confirm that Stephen Hoffenberg, the Ponzi schemer and Jeffrey Epstein mentor, was found dead in an apartment earlier this week. NBC Connecticut has not independently confirmed that.
Like completely different end of the spectrum, if you will, from the person I interacted with. From what you're saying, I mean, just seemed very humble, very quiet, very low key. But I didn't, you never know, people, is what this is really telling me. You never know who you live next door to.
The AP detailing the 77-year-old's efforts to once buy the New York Post and then was sentenced to 20 years in prison for one of the country's largest Ponzi schemes. He reportedly admitted to swindling investors out of $460 million. Hoffenberg later claimed Epstein was the architect of the scam, though he was never charged in the fraud. Epstein died by suicide in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial on charges that he sexually abused dozens of girls. Hoffenberg was released from federal custody in 2013, and neighbors tell us he moved in here in the last year or two. Derby police say they were called for a welfare check at the apartment earlier this week.
When the cops knocked on my door, saying, hey, do you know your neighbor? People has been trying to get in touch with them for weeks and no answer. So that's when I knew something was wrong.
So it's no coincidence that people around him who associated with him are either disappearing, dying. That man was heavily protected. Right? Why wouldn't Esau protect his own? They talk about the small hatters. Right? They're trying to cover up. He had I think it was a condo with a bunch of hard drives being burnt down. Like too many coincidences, man, wrapped around this man. The whole point is that, it's just funny how the history repeats itself, and how treacherous and evil and sly and snake like is Esau, man. It's just wild. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 32, 7. The instruments also of the churl are evil. When that word churl means scoundrel, right? He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Right, that was the evil instrument that he used, man, to use little kids. Majority of them are Northern Kingdom children. He used them as sacrificial pawns to leverage politicians, man. And that part angers me the most. Right, if you haven't yet seen that movie, Sounds of Freedom, I implore y'all to, take a look at that movie, man. It's pretty sad. Man, this is why I pray Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua take this kingdom down ASAP. Because I don't know how much more, right? Esau got this cup that's already full and run over, man. I don't know how much more this man can add to his wickedness, man. I think he's right at, I think he's rich maximum. All right, it's time to get this guy out of here. And with that, I'm going to say, call hello Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, right? For allowing me to receive this truth. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom.